My name is Jerome Mcoy. Y'all been saying Legion or what name that Teresa decided to give me, whatever. I'm only here honestly because I didn't see the stories until like part 20, and a good friend hit me up and was like, "Hey, it's your ex-wife and she on here, she bashing you or whatnot." And I didn't know nothing about it. I literally still haven't watched a lot of it. I just paid attention to like the footnotes. Somebody like watched the whole thing and gave me like a microcosm of what she was saying because they knew it wasn't true. And then I honestly wasn't going to respond. Nobody said anything to me. Only when I got family members getting harassed, my godmom at work and people coming up to her, and then my niece couldn't go to school because of it. Got another niece that had to move out of Atlanta. And she came back home, her mom, because of all this. So for me, when I heard about it, I was going to still ignore it because it didn't bother me. But then I heard the unfortunate story about the gentleman with the same name, his house being vandalized, and then people harassing him, and then another gentleman with the same name. I think that I'm not mistaken. I think somebody had wrote they took a shot at him. So for that reason, I said, all right, let me come put a stop to some of this. Some of the people I went to school with, good friends of mine, been getting harassed, and I got friends of mine getting harassed. I got my brother, he had to make a statement for his job. And even I had to go to workplace and make a statement and find out what was going on, and then get legally covered before I jump on camera, start talking loose like some people doing. A lot of things had to come in place for me to jump on here. I was doing a work thing, and after work, everybody wanted to get together to eat. I mean, we had like one of the most stressful weeks at my job that we could possibly have. So we all was like, Cheesecake Factory. You in Atlanta, you know anything about Atlanta, everybody go Cheesecake Factory. Me, it's my favorite restaurant. Don't eat there too much, you're going to get fat. But I mean, it's a good place to eat. We all went there to eat, honestly. I was there. She was there with two of her roommates. We met. She seemed honestly like a really nice girl, nice lady, honestly, very funny, really smart. We exchanged numbers and we decided to meet back there a week later. The next week, I actually could not meet her back there because, again, I had work. Then the week after that, she called me up. We was like, Cheesecake Factory, cool. So I was on my way to meet her there. She called me on the phone, said that she had a problem with her tire. Asked her what was going on. She said she had a piece of metal in it or something. She put some air in it and was on the way and was going to meet me. Then she called me like 20 minutes later, said she couldn't do it. She couldn't meet me because of the tire and she needed help.
I heard a boom and I lost control of my car. Did not crash, but my tire blew out. I said, I got to get this fixed. I don't know what to do. Like, I'm a damsel in distress kind of thing.
No, she didn't have roadside assistance or anything like that. So I was like, all right, cool. And I was just going to go and be done with it. But something in me said, hey, don't leave a woman on the side of the road. Like, my dad was real big on, you can help. So I was like, all right, cool. Tell me where you at. Send me your location. Boom, she sent me a location. Long story short, I went, helped her get her tire fixed. Went to a tire place, guy I know and love. He fixed the tire. Really didn't charge me much of anything. I paid for the tire. And we ended up going to dinner after that. We talked, hit it off. And we ended up spending almost 24 hours together just talking. Really. She interests me because she is like highly intelligent. Teresa, not stupid by any means. So that's how I got started, honestly. She was very open. And I was very open about what was going on with me, which was nothing, but I just worked way too much. At that time, I was working way too much. As anybody, you just trying to make money. Back then, my motivation was, I just want to make as much money as possible. I had nothing to tie me into anything other than just, get some money. I got started. After a couple of weeks of talking on the phone, dating, again, she grew on me, as any relationship, you like somebody. She came to the studio apartment a couple times. I had been to her house a couple of times. Now, friends of mine I work with, we talked about her and they advised me, hey, this Atlanta, be careful because you're making this money, you're doing your thing. You don't want to end up just in a situation where you end up paying for stuff and doing stuff. I was raised where, man, you try to take care of your woman the best you can do. I mean, I'm a car guy. I love cars. So for me, you know, if she had a problem with her car, I help her. And over the coming weeks, she had a lot of problems with the Nissan Rogue she was driving. So I help out. I wasn't going to have her. I even drove her car to work a couple of days just to get some stuff fixed on it, because I know guys that work on cars and I know a lot. So just to get that situation in a better position. Then, you know, the relationship grew. And then the pandemic hit. So the apartment is just the apartment I lived in during the week doing work. I lived other side of Atlanta. So for me, going to the house, this was 5 minutes versus driving an hour and 10 minutes with traffic to my house.
So you already had a house?
Yeah.
So that wasn't mentioned in the story. I don't know if you know that, but
yeah, I know.
Oh yeah, she said that all you had was the studio apartment. So you had a house and a studio apartment.
Yep, stayed in a studio apartment through the week because traffic in Atlanta is horrible, and trying to get home and get back and wearing out. I'm wearing myself out in the afternoon getting off work, and I'm in the car for 2 hours. Where a studio apartment, 15 minutes. She lived in Riverdale. I actually lived in Douglasville, but the job was in what is that? Like Duluth area. So if you look on the map, Duluth and Douglasville is far, and Clayton County, Riverdale is farther. So it was easier for me to get this studio apartment, be there during the week, because I would be at work sometimes 8 o'clock, and then having to drive home, get up, make that drive, this studio apartment. And a couple people that work with me, we all did the same thing. We all rented out of this building because it was easier for a lot. In the story where she said that we quarantined together during the pandemic. And I need to clear that up, because during the pandemic, like, we're Zooming and we FaceTime. I got her into using Apple products, iPhone, and we FaceTime. During the pandemic, she worked from home. I still had to get up and go to work. And because people at my job were coming down with COVID left and right, I didn't think it was a good idea for us to physically see each other, because COVID in Atlanta was horrible. The city was shut down. I'm not an essential worker, so our job had to apply for us to be able to be out in the morning. So I would have to get up in the morning time, go to work, and come home. I don't want to be around somebody, and I'm around people all day long. They've been out in the community moving around. So if I got sick, I'm gonna get her sick. So during the pandemic, when she said that we were together, yeah, we were talking, we were boyfriend and girlfriend, but we were not in the same house together. It was almost 5.5 months that I didn't physically see her. I saw her like I'm seeing you. I didn't spend any time in that house with her because I didn't want to get her sick if I got sick.
So y'all weren't quarantined together then?
No. I told her in the beginning pretty much everything about me, and I told her there's certain things I wasn't going to discuss with her because I felt like, as a girlfriend, not your business. How much money I make, not your business. My exact finances, not your business. She knew for a fact I had money because, again, I bought dinner. I did everything. For a fact I had money because, again, I bought dinner. I did everything. The first time we went out, yeah, she paid for hers. I paid for mine. After that, she didn't buy another meal.
For the whole time y'all were dating?
Yeah, no, never again. Never paid for food again. Never. And that's fine, because kind of guy I am essentially. If I ask you on a date, obviously I'm paying. That's how I feel. I know somebody gonna be like, no, man, I'm cutting it down the middle. No, honestly, if I ask you out, then I have full intention of I'm taking care of dinner. One of the reasons I did pay for everything other than that is she had told me about her job. her financial situation with student loans. She was very open because she told me about the Nissan Rogue that she was driving. She actually showed me the loan paperwork. And I read over it. And I saw that, you know, she was paying very high interest rate on a truck that really wasn't worth it. I mean, she was paying 3 times what the truck was worth. Not to mention paying student loans, getting up, going to work every day. And actually, like, some of the supplies for her job, she was buying herself.
When you first met her, do you feel like it started off about money?
No, absolutely not.
I was gonna say, because like when you were talking about the job and everything like that, it was just casual conversation. It wasn't like, hey, look, you know, I got all these big things coming up, and this is what my situation is now, but this is what it's gonna be. You don't think that, like, none of that played into y'all's relationship at first?
No, I mean, I told her in the beginning my job was demanding at times, and it was. And then I did charity work on top of it, and it was something that I wanted to do. My grandfather used to do it, and he got me into it. A guy that two gentlemen that are not my brothers, but I call them my brothers. A long time ago, both of them like just looked out for me, and because when my father died, they just stepped in like father figures, but they're like big brothers to me, and they did some of the same charity work. So I just wanted to lend a hand and help them help people, and it's just something good to do. Ain't nothing better than helping people who need it. For her, she wanted, because like I said, she knew about my house and then hers. She wanted to, and this is after we got married. She wanted to get a house that we both could live in together. I told her, we looked at her credit, we looked at mine. When we looked at her credit, it wasn't good. We looked at her credit, we looked at mine. When we looked at her credit, it wasn't good. So I talked to a financial advisor I know, and my brother, Miguel. He's not my blood brother, but he, you know, like I told you, he gave me some good advice. He said, listen, bro, you want to go into a house with this woman, I'm advising you not to do it, but if you're going to do it, she don't have the capital, so what you're going to have to do is it's going to be you. So if you put her on the loan, you're going to pay more. So you might as well just put yourself on there and take care of everything, and you can put her name on the house as just someone living there. So when we talked about it, she agreed to it, but we were still into this marriage. And I told her I'm not comfortable with buying a house with you just yet. I'll sublease my house out, and you know, we can live, you know, somewhere, or you can do something different. We can figure something out. What she didn't do, and this was the first red flag for me, is she signed a 2-year lease at that house in Riverdale, and she didn't tell me anything about it. The only way I found out about it, because I asked her, because it was coming close to the time to renew the lease. She said, I already signed a 2-year lease. Why would you do that? So at that point for me, like I told her, my house, Douglasville, I'm not getting rid of that, because for me, I just didn't want to, honestly. No side story. I just didn't want to. And I went to her like, well, we can live out here. She got an aunt that was living in like Dallas, Georgia. And I'm like, we'll be closer to her if you want to go out there and see your little cousin or your grandfather or something like that. So we left the situation up in the air. All this looking at houses, she went and looked at a couple of houses. I looked at 2 houses where her, I liked both of them. Both prices were a little needed to be negotiated, but at the time they wanted to give her promotion at GSP, and I'm like, why don't you just take the promotion? Because then you can start paying down some of the student loan. I'll help you do that. Let's get your credit up here so that we can go into this house together. Because if I go into it by myself, I don't have a problem doing that, but we got to clean your credit up because we're married, and that means your credit is my credit. So let's get that cleaned up. She wanted to push to get out of that house. And I said, if you want to get out of the house, you can move in up here where I'm at. But again, buying a house, your credit's not high. It just didn't make sense. Let's get your debt down. Anybody buying a house, you know this. Your credit bad, you ain't buying no house. If your credit good and the person's credit not so good, you're gonna pay more because the person on the loan's credit isn't stellar. And I was trying to help her get that together.
As far as the loan, what made her look for these high houses for 700,000, 600,000 if she didn't have no credit for that?
I didn't tell her to look for a $600,000, $700,000 house. That's a question for her. I don't know. I told her, I don't care if we are in Atlanta. The house that I lived in, Douglasville, I got at an auction, and I only paid $125,000 for a house that's probably around $210,000, $230,000 house. So $600,000 house. I'm like, I'm not going in with that and your credit like this, because we're gonna be paying forever, or I'm gonna be paying forever.
But what I'm trying to figure out, so was the Chase loan, like the approval of the 700,000, was that a real thing?
I never went to my bank and needed to get approved for a loan.
I think the part that, was just kind of unclear is that the money was there though. You're saying like the proof of fund, like when you were going to pay for the house in cash, was that even a thing? I
wasn't going to pay for it in cash. I was going to go ahead and get a loan and finance the house. I wasn't about to go spend $750,000 on $600,000, $500,000. No, on that. No, because honestly, I had told her before, the budget for finding the house, we don't need to be over $340,000. She started looking at houses that high.
Was the proof of funds ever a issue?
No, because I never gave it to the realtor, because all we did was look at houses, and I didn't commit to anything because, again, I told them solely we're just looking right now. And the two realtors that we dealt with, they understood that and they were fine. There was a guy and another lady that she kept dealing with outside of me knowing, and then she take me to a house, and they showed me, and then they wanted all this financial information. And I was like, we haven't discussed this yet.
Because right then you were just looking.
Yeah, because you wake me up on a Saturday and say, I got an appointment at 12:30. I'm going to go look at this house. And I'm meeting these realtors, and they telling me, oh, your wife contacted us, and they, this, that, and the third. And I said, again, we're not committing to anything yet. And they understood that, because I said, right now, her credit is here, mine is here. Like I said earlier, I got to get her here. So when we go into this house, because if I go into the house and I'm buying it myself, can you really say it's your house? You got to help me.
You said she had access to the account. She said the only thing that she saw was screenshots of like the account.
She had access to the two accounts I let her know about. I had 5 altogether, but she had access to them. She had access to those 2 accounts because I bled money into those accounts. Paycheck, and then I bled money in if needed be. She was able to go to the bank, buy what she wanted when she wanted. Like I told you at the beginning, the 2 gentlemen that looked out for me, my mom and dad, passed away, that became brothers to me, which is Elgin and Miguel. These are the guys that I would talk to in the morning time. My brother Elgin is he's not, like I said, he's not my blood brother. But he's pastor. In the morning time, I love to get my day started. He give me a word of encouragement. He do to everybody's congregation, just give you something to get your day started. And he would call me in the morning just to help me get my day started. And I needed that. I was working my butt off back then. And if he didn't do that, then I don't know. Like I said, he cared enough to reach out. This man was busy every day. Still busy. And he just a hell of a pastor, but at the same time, again, not my blood brother, but he is my brother. And definitely somebody who, if I was ever going through anything, even to this day, reach out and same thing, pray with me all the time and make sure I'm good and not scared to tell me, hey, bro, you wrong. He gave me marital advice, life advice, spiritual advice, and has been a real brother to me. Him and my his brother Miguel, which they're brothers. They're not my blood brothers, but they're my brothers, if you can understand what I'm saying.